Her face immediately changed. She rolled her eyes and said, "You don't have to be such a Grinch about it." That was the breaking point for me. I looked her straight in the eye and said, "If you keep harassing me about this, it's going to become an HR issue." My voice was calm, but I meant every word. Sarah got flustered and walked off in a huff. I thought that was the end of it. Spoiler, it wasn't. Later that day, I overheard Sarah and a couple of others talking about me in the break room. They didn't realize I was nearby. I heard things like, "I can't believe she's refusing to help. It's just so heartless. And what kind of person doesn't want to give back during the holidays?" Hearing that stung. I know I don't owe anyone an explanation, but being painted as some cold-hearted Scrooge hurt more than I expected. They don't know my story. They don't know why I don't celebrate Christmas, and they definitely don't know why programs like Adopt a Family leave a bad taste in my mouth. But since you're here reading this, I'll tell you. I grew up extremely poor, and when I say poor, I don't mean tight budget poor. I mean barely surviving poor. Holidays like Christmas and Thanksgiving weren't magical for me and my siblings. They were just reminders of how little we had. Thanksgiving? Just another day. We couldn't afford turkey or fancy sides, so dinner was whatever cheap food we had on hand. Sometimes, we'd get dragged to a relative's house where they'd have a feast, but that wasn't much better. Sitting there, watching my cousins eat their fill while we were too embarrassed to take more than a small serving. It was humiliating. Christmas was worse. We never had a tree. No lights. No stockings. And definitely no presents. Waking up on Christmas morning to nothing but silence was the norm for us. My younger siblings would cry from disappointment, and I had to be the strong one, pretending it didn't bother me. But it did. A lot. Eventually, my mom started signing us up for programs like the one my job is doing now. Adopt a Family, toy drives, you name it. She wanted to give us at least a little piece of the holiday magic we were missing. But year after year, no one ever came through for us. No gifts, no visits, nothing. Every time, we were left wondering if this would finally be the year someone cared. It never was. And the rare times we did go to a relative's house on Christmas, it was torture. Watching my cousins tear through piles of gifts while we sat there empty-handed, hearing them ask, "What did you get for Christmas?" and trying to decide whether to lie or admit the truth. Those memories are burned into my brain. As I got older, I promised myself that I'd never rely on those kinds of programs again. No one cared about my family back then.